Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 2020 decks, the January deck from the King's Wild Shorts line. King's Wild Shorts is a fantastic subscription service by King's Wild Project and designer Jackson Robinson. Every month, Jackson puts together and designs an absolutely unique deck of cards. This is the line of a line of playing cards where I think he takes the most chances. He goes out there with some really innovative ideas for some of his designs and really draws on some unique inspirations in putting the decks together. It comes in a few different levels. This is the standard that we're looking at right here. There's also the limited edition, which has the same cards but a differently designed tuck and is numbered to 500. And then there's the gilded edition, which has the same cards but gilded edges on those cards. So I'll talk a little bit more about some of the different editions of this deck kind of towards the end. But let's check out the cards in this one, the standard edition. Now, 2020, the name of the deck has a couple of different meanings. Obviously, it's the deck that's kicking off the year 2020, so this is the year 2020 reference, but also 2020 vision. This one is inspired by eye charts that you might see if you've gone to an optometrist. So we'll see more about how that comes into play as we go through it. All right, let's start out with the tuck case, and it's a really, really clean tuck case and one that I really like a lot. It is almost entirely white. As you look through it, it almost looks like it's a plain tuck case, nothing to it. But as you get it in the light, you can see these hits of holographic foil throughout. And it's in the shape of this E, just in different orientations. So that's something you'll see is very common on different eye charts. You'll see them just with the E pointing in different directions, and you're supposed to tell them whether the E is pointing left, right, up, down. But he did that for the background. So it's just this repeated E everywhere except this spot on here with the matte finish to say 2020 with the line down the middle. And other than that, that is the only other words that are anywhere on the exterior of the tuck case other than the ad copy. But here on the back, you can see the continuation of that pattern, and it goes on the sides as well. Only other difference that you have is on the bottom, you have some debossed ad copy. It's not actually printed on there with ink, it's just debossed in there, and it's classic Jackson Robinson ad copy, including his signature Bible verse, Thessalonians 4:11 down there. And then on the top, just more continuation of that pattern. It goes into the flaps of the tuck case as well, so you get that same pattern repeated there, and nothing printed on the interior. I really, really, really like this tuck case. This is one of the better tuck cases, and I'm hoping it shows up on camera well, because this one looks outstanding in hand. You have that slight texturing going from the foil all the way around. It's just a really nice, clean looking tuck case. So that is the tuck, but let's take a look at the cards. And we'll start with the extra cards you get. Now, I mentioned this is going to be inspired by vision charts. So you're going to see glasses on a lot of the characters. So as you look at the two Jokers, you have the black and the red Joker. Very classic design for Jackson Robinson. Has his king there with the gas mask on, but both of them are wearing glasses. So he's throwing a little pair of glasses on them there to kind of fit with the theme. So really like that nice subtle little touch there added onto a classic design. And then you also get a couple of other cards that look like a 13. And this is actually based on the Ishihara plates, which are used to test for color blindness. So if you're colorblind, you may look at this and like, hey, look, it just looks like a circle filled with dots. If you're not colorblind, you'll see the dots in one color and then the number 13 written in the middle. So this is meant to test for red, blue, or yellow-green color blindness. If you can see the 13 in the middle, you're not colorblind. If you can't, then you are. So very simple design based on the Ishihara plates there. And that 13 is a really common recurring number through Jackson Robinson's decks. It's actually a number that he used to refer to his tally-ho design originally, but ever since he's included the number 13 somewhere on most any of his decks. So this is where he incorporated on this one in the extra cards. So there is that. All right, now the rest of the deck itself. We're going to start with the back design. All right, here is the back design of the cards. And I mentioned this is going to be inspired by eye chart, specifically something called the Snellen eye chart. If you've been to any optometrist, you've seen this sitting up on the wall somewhere. It just has a series of letters going all the way down, as well as some markings on the side to indicate what level of eyesight that you have. So as an example, if you can read down to this line right here, but not this one down here, it means your vision's somewhere between 20/40 and 20/20. And just kind of going down. So the optometrist might have you read from the top of the chart down. Includes the classic E at the top and then just a series of letters all the way down. He swapped out the ones on the 2070 line here to be KWP for King's Wild Project as well. It is a fully two-way back design, and it's also a marked back design. And I'll show you kind of where that comes into play, and it's right up here. So up here on the 2200 line, same thing on the other corner over here, you have a 1 and an S. That S is going to be the suit, and the 1 is going to be the value of the card. So the 1S is going to be the ace of spades. As I turn it over, of course, it's the ace of spades. So it's a really simple to read marking system, and one that he's kind of been working on for a while. Interesting marking system. I like when they're really easy to read like this. That said, if you're looking for the marking system, I think you're going to find it pretty easily. So there it is. That is the back design of the cards. Now let's get into the cards themselves. And we'll start with the ace of spades. There is a lot going on here. It's a very bright design, has a lot of primary colors, blues, reds, yellows, even a little bit of green in there. You have the large spade pip there, and it's covered with a phoropter. Phoropter is that big device that you see that the optometrist is going to use as they're testing their vision. So, you know, when they're testing different lenses, they'll kind of flip these out here. But you have a large phoropter over there. And then it just says, I was blind, but now I see. And I like what he did with the fonts on this one. You can see it was kind of overlaid it with yellow and green ink. So it gives it a little bit of a blurry look to it. Almost like you're barely able to see the I was blind, but now I see. The pip and index in the corner. So you have a very tiny, tiny pip there. And then the index is small right beside it, but then you have this sort of gradient from large to small of the ace going down from a fairly large one all the way down to a really tiny one. Creates a pretty cool effect there in the middle. And then you have these extra little brackets of the green on the corners. So interesting, bright, a lot going on this one. Kind of a busy design, if you will. As you go to the number cards, you have a fairly standard, but maybe a little bit straighter, more angular spade pip for the numbers. You have these extra red bars, which are the same thing you'll see on like on the Snellen chart here. So you'll have these red and green bars here. That's mirrored onto here. You have the green brackets on the side, and then the same thing with that gradient of sizes of the 2 on the pip and index there in the corner. Otherwise, fairly standard layout. These do end up being kind of busy. Again, a little bit hard to read with all those different lines, shapes, numbers going on. But interesting looking cards nonetheless. And then as you get to the court cards, again, a very interesting look. Tons of primary colors, lots of that blue, yellow, red, green mixed in everywhere. And you have fairly recognizable court designs, I would say, but all of them are, of course, wearing something optical or some kind of glasses. So you've got the monocle on the Jack of Spades, you get the kind of stylish glasses there on the Queen of Spades, and then the Harry Potter style glasses there on the King. So you get those glasses worked in there, but just a really bold, bright, vibrant design all the way through. It's another one that I think kind of borders on busy, a little bit hard to use if you're going to make this a functional deck, but a fun design to look at nonetheless. And I love the glasses that are included on there. There's your ace of diamonds. So it does feature the smaller spade pip, but then this kind of gradient of little diamond pips going in the top and the bottom. Same thing going on with the index in the corner, but now these green brackets have been swapped out for red in the corners. And then same thing we looked at with the spades here, no differences until you get to the courts. And more of the same, of course, similarly styled courts, more glasses, like the grading glasses down on the nose there for the Queen of Diamonds. There's your club courts, more glasses, more glasses. And down through the club number cards. There's your ace of clubs and the hearts. You do get the suicidal king, like the little eyebrows kind of up there over his crown. Interesting, fun look to it. The Jack of Hearts is the only one that's not actually wearing glasses, but he is holding that little paddle that you might use in the optometrist's office to cover up one of your eyes as you're going through the vision test. But there are your 3 heart courts and down through your numbers and through to the ace of hearts. So that's the deck. It handles well. It's a USPCC printed deck, so the handling is going to be really nice. Those kind of gradient of the indices in the corner gives you an interesting look if you fan it from the faces as well. What do we think of the deck overall? Well, that really comes down to what would I use this deck for, and I think that's where I struggled with it. As much as I wanted to like this deck, the more I thought about using this deck for anything, I really think it kind of fell short. It's hard to use this for gameplay. There's so much going on these cards. The pips in the corner are just minuscule when you're holding it in a fan, so it makes it really, really hard to use this for gameplay. Maybe that's just a test where you've got to have really good eyesight if you're going to do that. It's just too busy, I think, for Magic. Even though it is a marked deck, I think it's just too much going on the deck to really use this for Magic. And for cardistry, again, just too much with the writing and the letters, really just distracting if you're gonna use this for cardistry. So I think I struggle with this one as a usable deck. That said, I really love that he pushed the envelope with this one and kind of went for a really different and unique design. And so for me, this is one of those decks that you can just pull out, show people, show other collectors, show just random friends. Like, hey, here's a kind of cool deck from Jackson Robinson. I think it really fills that purpose as a unique deck in the line, even if it's not the most usable deck. Now, I mentioned this does come in a couple of other versions. I only get the standard and the limited edition. The limited edition comes in kind of a cool concept as well. It comes in this, which is a clear tuck case. It's actually a carat case, the DS1 carat case. You can get these just to put a regular deck of cards in, but he put the deck into one of those. It has the white 2020 printed on one side and then nothing else printed anywhere. It just has a couple of holographic stickers with the numbering. So I got number 265 out of 500, as well as a tuck seal up here with the 2020 on it. So kind of a cool concept. I think I actually like the standard tuck quite a bit better personally, but he did do this for the limited, kind of a unique idea as well. So that's that one. I personally actually also picked up the signature edition. This one's kind of cool. It's done in black with that same holographic foil. So very similar to the white one, just done in a darker color. And then this one, of course, is signed. So kind of a cool other look to it. Didn't personally get the gilded one. I don't typically go for the gilded one just for the price. It's a lot of money to add for another deck that really is just for the gilding. But that's it. That's the look at the 2020 deck from King's Wild Project. Definitely recommend going to check out the King's Wild Shorts line if you're not already a subscriber. There are still a few slots left. Those typically sell out pretty fast. So go check that out if you're interested in subscribing to the King's Wild Shorts line. And subscribe to my channel if you're interested in finding out more and seeing more deck reviews and unboxings in the future. Let me know what you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.